This is Niswander, and welcome to the NOWMAN Show. And we have a panel discussion today. First of all, to my left, Clifford J. Tasner is the president of the Southern California chapter of Americans for Democratic Action. He is a composer of film, theater, and chamber works. For the last 17 years, he's been writing and producing the songs for the political satire theater group, the Billionaires. Jim Earl is a comedian who has written for The Daily Show and has been a comedy writer and performer on Air America Radio and for his Rapture Watch segment on Marc Maron's radio show. Ron Placone is a comedian and a radio internet personality. He's a panelist, writer, and producer for the Jimmy Dore Show. On Fridays, he can be heard on the Stephanie Miller Show and as a regular on the Young Turks program, TYT Nation. He also hosts the syndicated radio show and podcast Indie Bohemians. Matt Orfalea is a viral video maker and blogger with special interest in universal basic income, music videos, and aggravating his grandmother. And right. Kelsey Goldberg is an actress, writer, comedian, and organizer with Democratic Socialists Los Angeles. Thank you all for being on the NOWMAN Show. We're going to have some fun here. Now, we're going to look at videos that are going to get us into subject matter. And since Matt here is a videographer, next is a video again from Matt, which is called Big Idea. And what is that big idea? Well, find out right now.
If we are to bring America to the point that we have one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all, there are certain things that we must do.
Today, I'd like to share a big idea with you. The idea of some of history's greatest thinkers.
A guaranteed minimum income for all people and for all families of our country.
Free money for everyone.
True individual freedom cannot exist without economic security.
An income fully adequate to a decent life.
Basic income guarantee.
Give everybody X amount of dollars a year to live. And I was like, get out of here. But then I started looking into it.
We can end poverty in the United States. Our nation has the resources to do it.
Think outside of the box.
It's an idea that unites politicians from the left to the right.
A basic federal minimum would be provided.
It's an almost forgotten episode in the history of the United States.
Although it's not politically feasible now, the force of history is on its side. It's going to become political.
We are living through a time and age in which our societies and economies are changing faster than ever.
This hollowing out of the middle class, the pressures that we see on the average American family.
Frankly, part of it's had to do with automation.
Jobs are being displaced.
Even though we're making the same amount of stuff, we're employing fewer people.
And we ain't seen nothing yet.
We need a minimum basic income.
I don't think we're going to have a choice.
Everyone can enjoy a life of luxurious leisure if the machine-produced wealth is shared.
Or we're going to move towards a matrix-like dystopia where humans will all become servants to the owners of the machines.
Insecurities and inequalities are multiplying.
It seems to me the civil rights movement must now begin to organize for the guaranteed income.
The end of slavery, equal rights for men and women, utopias have a tendency of coming true.
Hi, I'm Matt Orfalea, and I've been writing articles and making videos about the big idea of a basic income guarantee for the past few years now. Please help me continue to share the history and importance of this big idea with a new series of videos. As always, thanks for watching.
Guaranteed. Yeah, guaranteed. Basic income, man. Great work on that video, by the way.
Yeah, it's really impressive.
Briefly, what got you into that topic? You interviewed people also from around the world too, right? You interviewed people from around the world.
I've interviewed some people that write on the topic in other countries, and what sparked my interest in it is when I found out about it is when the Swiss initiative for universal basic income happened. I was like about 2014. I had not heard of it before then. And yeah, it sounded like I needed money. Everyone I know needed money. It sounded like a good idea, but it also sounded crazy. Read a bunch about it, did a bunch of research, and I'm convinced it's a great idea.
Yeah, and who around the table here has heard of this idea?
Oh yeah, the Finns have got a pilot program. I mean, look right now, in America, we have a class of people who produce nothing of value on credit default swaps,
Oh, God.
And they're making, hundreds of millions of dollars, and they're producing nothing of any value. And why not do something? They don't put the money back in the economy. They pump it into the Cayman Islands bank accounts.
That's right.
Why not give everybody a guaranteed income? And that will stimulate the economy. It's the most stimulative thing we could possibly do. Instead of bailing out Wall Street when Obama came in, they should have just given every American $35,000 to do whatever they want with. And that would have gotten us out of the rut very quickly,
Yep. I do think it's important that we clarify we're talking about guaranteed income plus. Because there are some conservatives that say, oh great, if we give everyone money, then we don't need things like Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid. We're not talking about that. We're talking about those social services plus a guaranteed income.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Matt?
Well, let me say, I'm definitely for universal health care in addition, plus a guaranteed income. But I think a lot of people who are for a guaranteed income would say, if you have a guaranteed income, you don't really need a Social Security program because you're guaranteed enough every.
Depends on what you're guaranteed, really.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Now that's a very important part. I think it would be okay to eliminate a lot of the welfare bureaucracy so long as this figure truly is high enough to keep people out of poverty and it's tied to inflation, so it would go up when necessary.
But these people also pay for those things they're about to lose through sales taxes and payroll taxes. I mean, are you asking people to give up welfare because they get a guaranteed income? Is that what you're asking? Or?
That is a lot of people who are for guaranteed income. Certainly, the libertarian side, that's a big argument that they agree with. And I don't disagree with that. I feel like, there's no need for redundant departments. But what do you guys think?
Well, I think reducing redundancy, like when we're talking about like welfare checks, there's a little bit of redundancy, but I think there's still social programs that are going to be very necessary. It's part of the thing that's lacking, I think, in the talk about reproductive justice is childcare and whether or not you feel like you can choose to keep the baby. So I think, as far as I read, I haven't seen a number that would be high enough that if you were paying a year's worth of childcare, you'd have anything left over for. So I do think we need to prioritize what social services are necessary that on top of the guaranteed income, but something like how the money is distributed, there would be redundancy that could get removed in that sense.
Also, universal health care, the great thing about it is it's just much cheaper to have an entire society have the economy of scale.
Right.
So if you just gave people money and forced them to go to the insurance companies to buy overpriced insurance, in which 30% of which is going to line the pockets of some corporate executive, I think you're wasting the stimulative value of guaranteed income.
Because our health care would just continue to get more expensive.
It would just continue to suck the way it sucks now, and just more.
I think as far as, I favor, I favor a guaranteed income. I do favor that as well. And I think as far as worrying about, what social services might become redundant or unnecessary, I don't even think that should be in the near peripheral of thought, because the bigger problem here is that, A, we have a shrinking economy as far as what we're producing.
Huge,
B, wages have not kept up with inflation at all.
Yep.
And C, the wealth disparity in this country is absolutely ridiculous. The average CEO makes 475 times the average worker.
And
Adam Smith never foresaw this, by the way. I know you have your little capitalist web dream. He wasn't talking about that when he talked about all this stuff. There's a lot of stuff that people like to cherry pick out of that stuff. But anyway, so really, like, we already have this ridiculous distribution problem. That's why, as far as healthcare goes, we pay more and get less than every other industrialized
That's
world.
right.
We already have the resources for this stuff.
But
so
America
it would
has
be
the best
nonsense not
healthcare in the
to.
world. No? What?
Says people that are very isolated.
Well, that depends on where you are in the list of getting your MRI machine.
Yeah.
We've already tried guaranteed poverty. I think we should move on to guaranteed income. Give that a try, maybe. Guaranteed income.
Guaranteed good economy for everyone. You know, that sounds like a good idea to me. Let's we're going to extend a little bit further here to do this one segment. A few comments and then closing comments. This is another video from Matt considering work. I mean, what is work? Work myths. Matt Orfalea.
You've been told a lot of lies about work and jobs. For example, lie number 1, you are lucky to have a job. We hear it all the time. There's nothing lucky about spending most of your waking hours doing whatever someone else tells you to. You might be lucky if you really enjoy doing what you're doing, that is rare. But for having a job you hate, like the majority of the population, that's the opposite of lucky. Common and unfortunate. Lie number 2, you get paid what you're worth. Human potential is limitless, but time is limited. That makes everybody's time a precious resource. Sadly, the pervasive culture doesn't value human potential, other than potential to make money. You don't get paid what you're worth. You get paid what you're worth to your employer, which is often just enough to keep you desperate enough to continue working for their benefit. Lie number 3, you need a job to be productive. Are managers managing managers to manage managers who don't really need any management really being productive?
What the hell is wrong with you people?
All employment implies is that you're getting a paycheck. Employment does not equal productivity. In fact, those with the highest paying jobs are often among the most counterproductive. Take, for example, the rich investment bankers who destroyed the economy, or the rich oil companies responsible for destroying our ecosystems. It's actually surprisingly common for unemployed to be more productive than your typical paid employee. A stay-at-home mother, for example, works almost 100 hours a week. It is among the most demanding, important work there is. The future of society literally depends on their work raising the next generations. But it pays nothing.
What the hell is going on around here?
There's no connection between work and productivity. No connection between monetary value and real world value. Lie number 4, good companies are good employers. They hire you to make money for them, not because they're your friend. If they can make more money replacing you with technology or somebody more naive and financially desperate, they will. Lie number 5, the unemployed are lazy. If you're unemployed, that doesn't mean you're lazy. Looking and applying for work is hard work. And so is accomplishing anything without the financial and social support of a job. I mean, really, who's more lazy? The unemployed with the self-discipline to pursue things on his or her own without oversight or payment? Or the employee who does little else than what he's told to all day? Lie number 6, work is life's mission. How's work? What do you do for work? Are the first things people ask, so naturally we've come to believe that they're the most important things. But there's so much more to live for, like happiness, health, knowledge, passion, progress. Lie number 7, everyone needs to earn a living. This was true when we all literally had to work the fields for food to live, but that's no longer the case. It used to take 90% of the workforce to feed ourselves. Now it takes less than 1.7%. Of course, we still need to work to continue innovation and progress, but we no longer need to work simply to live. We are quite literally living in an age of abundance, but our system of money and workaholic culture prevents us from realizing it. Lie number 8, if you work hard enough in school, get good enough grades, then eventually you will have a good paying job. That's just not true anymore. So what'd you think of the video? Do you disagree, agree? As always, let's duke it out in the comments. If you'd like to learn the solution to all the problems with work, please check out my basic income video where I explain why everybody should have free money. Right here. Click it.
Okay, Matt, tell us, run down what the work myths are.
You just saw. I just said we need to get rid of redundance, Dan. No. Well, I think the biggest one is that you're not being productive unless you're working a traditional job, and that's just not true. In the case of, mothers, fathers, I'm not going to leave them out. Just parenting, that's hard work. It takes a lot of hours and effort. and care and any kind of volunteer work. I mean, this is the most valuable work there is. And in our society, that's run on money, it has no value. That's not fair.
That's absolutely right. And we have half the country that really is poor. And there's hundreds of millions of people, I like to say, are probably financially challenged or struggling in one way or another, because underemployment is a term now, re-unemployment. We've talked about that on this show as well. So unemployment only measures like the last 3 months. So whenever they would give us from the White House or whatever the unemployment statistics, that was only for the previous 3 months that were the data that was available. So I mean, people are struggling, and that's the whole idea of what work is. And it shouldn't work be fun.
Well, as an artist activist who only makes money when I do music, which is not as often as I'd like it to be, I feel like life has to be gratifying. We have to do those things that make the world a better place. We have this capitalist model of goods and services, not even goods and services, goods. We basically produce a mountain of crap. We take petroleum and turn it into plastic and then send it into landfill. And I think we need to start creating a society where there's value of services.
Absolutely.
Where people who teach, we pay the least to the people who take care of our most vulnerable people, the people who do childcare, the people who take care of our dying and sick are the people we pay the least to. And we really need to change that equation. Once again, the guy who created the credit default swap, I think, should be like, cleaning toxic waste off of the Hanford, nuclear plant or something. Yeah,
exactly.
Just
Rex Tillerson.
There you go.
Yeah. Give him a different job.
Give him a sponge man and some seals and pelicans and see what we can come up with.
Exactly. That sounds like a great idea.
Well, and it creates this thing too, where it's like you need money or capital in order to feed yourself and provide shelter. And I feel like whenever I get in these talks with people, they're like, well, don't you think hard work should be rewarded? And I'm like, we're not talking about a yacht or a second home. We're talking about like the basic needs so that you don't die out in the elements. And in order to provide those for yourselves, you have to sell your autonomy for 40-hour weeks to someone else. And that, when you frame it that way, there's something inherently gross about it, because we're not talking about rewarding the brightest minds. We're talking about asking people to exhaust themselves just to survive. Who knows how many amazing artists or musicians or, whiz kid tech minds are just too exhausted at the end of the day to think, because they've been working overtime just to pay rent.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh.
I don't know if anybody here has been to Europe.
Not yet.
Yeah, I was going to say other places.
You go there. You go to places in Western Europe or Holland. People they look at you like you're insane when you're from America. It's the
generally true though.
The old cliche is true that there they work to live, instead of live to work.
Yeah.
And that's the way it should be. You should. If you don't enjoy your job, well, then you should at least have a nice break off for it, off of it, and be compensated well, and be able to live a life outside of your job, or just not work at all. I would like that as well.
That's
I'm thoroughly sick of the work environment and would just like to live off welfare for the rest of my life and in guaranteed income.
Yeah, sounds good. See, there's another vote, Matt.
You can work.
You got all votes here at the table.
Right.
You can be working to make that
I
happen.
have worked hard. I've worked hard all my life to be unemployed.
Yeah.
That's kind of like my reputation.
I love that. That should be a good tagline for a business. I worked hard for all my life. Get welfare.
No, our work culture is backward in so many ways. I mean, in the way of, we don't reward those. I mean, I saw this meme on Facebook once, and it was an anti-$15 minimum wage meme. And I know I'm kind of blurring topics here, but I feel like they're connected. Wow. And it was like, do you really think that a person flipping a burger should get paid the same as an EMT? And I'm like, I think the thesis of your meme should be that EMTs are grossly underpaid. Because that is true. The thing is, anyone that works an honest job for 40 hours a week should make enough money to live, no matter what it is. But EMTs should be paid about twice as much as they're paid on average, and teachers should be getting paid more, and the bus drivers drivers that get the kids safe to school should be getting paid more. And, you know...
Elder care workers.
No kidding. I mean, the list goes on and on.
Even rabid anti-Semite Henry Ford understood that his workers should make enough money to be able to buy the cars they were producing.
That's right.
You know, we should be able to afford. People should be working. Look. What was it? 70% of the money that's in the economy that's been sort of filtering upward. You know, the economy's been great, and almost all of it is going up to the 1%. None of it is making its way to working people.
Well, that's because
when we're working harder, we're more productive. We should. If the argument is if you're more productive, you should be paid more. Well, we've been more productive. Our society is producing lots more people working longer hours for less money. We never got that benefit, and then they're automating all these jobs. And, Trump's making all these promises to the miners. First of all, coal's on its way out anyway. But on top of it, it's being mined by a bunch of machines and not a bunch of guys from West Virginia.
Well, you know, the
now robots are going to get blackballed.
That's right. Well, and we haven't even reached the ultimate of the automation in this country yet. We're actually behind on that. So we're going to lose 4 million more jobs, by the way.
Yeah, well, the trucking industry is, I believe, largest industry in our country. I mean, that is their largest single workforce is going to be unemployed at basically the same time.
That's right.
What do we do with them? They don't deserve to live now because robots do their jobs? That's ridiculous logic, and we're not prepared for that at all.
Well, we need to wrap this up now because the live show is going on for another 25 minutes or so. It's been great. Let's do closing comments now. Go around the table, and we'll end up with Matt, starting with Kelsey.
Oh, great.
No pressure, but you're setting the template.
Setting the template. Rise up, seize the means of production, own the robots. No, just get active and don't tune out in between elections because you're responsible for what your elected officials do, even if you didn't elect them, and join an organization that connects with you. DSA, and I'm sure ADA as well, would love to have you. Check out our website. Stay mad, stay active, be effective.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. I above all approach, I'm all about it. Want to see true progressive change in this country. I'm on Twitter at Ron Placone. And to be a little lighter here, any NHL fans, let's go Pens.
Me?
Yes.
Hey, I'm on Twitter, but I don't remember my handle.
Well, actually, it's in the link on YouTube. You'll be able to see it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's great. I don't have any grand summation other than, when you're feeding squirrels, do not shell the nuts.
Yeah, they don't like that.
No.
It takes their gratification of working away from them.
Also, they can't. You don't want them to store a shelled nut because it'll go bad during winter. So keep it in the walnut shell.
That's presuming it's a walnut, of course. So, that's going a long distance.
And, also death to the fascist insect that feeds upon the life of the people.
Yep.
Hear, hear.
I may quote the SLA.
Okay, well, Americans for Democratic Action meets the first Tuesday evening of every month at the Peace Center in Culver City. Our website is adasocal.org. You can sign up and you'll find out what we're doing. Become part of the work we're doing. This is a friendly place where Bernie people, left people, people who want to work to elect progressives and then push them to do progressive things can come and be part of the work that we're doing. The work is exciting. I mean, honestly, I'd actually rather stay home and write music all the time, but I live in a world that's broken, and that's why I'm an activist, because we have to do what we can do, otherwise we're causing the problem. I fear fascism, as a leftist, long-haired Jewish man. I really know that there's a big target on my back, so part of my activism is just a survival thing, that if we can keep fascism from happening, I get to keep living, and everyone else does too. So let's all do some work together. Let's do some joyful political activism together and make some real substantive change.
That's
that
fantastic.
Hair's real? I thought it was a prop.
Matt.
All right, let's see. Well, I'll end with this a glimmer of hope from a current event. Just the other day, Mark Zuckerberg, at a Harvard commencement speech, said that we should explore the idea of universal basic income. Huge. And he made the same arguments Kelsey was making earlier. His logic is, people should have the freedom to have purpose and pursue new ideas He acknowledged that, the most successful of us, like him, even he himself, like the sixth richest person in America, if not the world, he could not have done what he did if he didn't know he had a cushion to fall back on if Facebook was not successful. Universal basic income can provide that cushion, and let's all keep up the good work spreading all these possible solutions. Thanks for all the work you guys do. All right, thanks for having me, Dan.
That's great, and thank you all for being on the show. And coming soon will be Arete Media Productions, which we will talk to you more about on this show, and worker cooperatives as another solution for a new economy going forward, where the owners create their business together, make all the decisions democratically. So we'll be going into that more. And until next time, I also want to do a shout out to our great crew here. This is Niswander. You're watching the NOWMAN Show. Be present now.